Hey, it's Patsy White coming back with a 3-minute ministry to motivate your month. Well, because of the coming meat shortage, because of the pandemic, I wanted to talk a little bit today about the possibility of shortage. And I want to encourage you with a story that I just absolutely love. Today is about victory over food shortage. The passage is from 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 25 through 2 Kings chapter 7, verse 20. This will be an excerpt. So, in this situation, the prophet Elisha is being blamed for a famine in the land in Samaria. And it's gotten so bad that two women have confronted the king because they ate one woman's child one day and the other woman hid her child, so they couldn't eat them. So Elisha is at home, and the king sends a man ahead of him on their way to Elisha's to behead Elisha. And God tells him that this man is on his way. Well, when the king and the man are outside Elisha's home, Elisha finally encourages them. So there's 3 points I want to share today. One is to listen for the promise of God. Second is to focus on the promise of God. And third is to receive the promise of God. So the first part, when the king and the man are outside of Elisha's home, and Elisha gives them a word from the Lord in 2 Kings 7:1, he says, "Hear the word of the Lord. Tomorrow, about this time, a measure of finely milled flour will sell for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley will sell for a shekel." Now, point two, focus on the promise. The king clearly focused on the promise because he did not try to kill Elisha a second time. And meanwhile, 4 lepers outside of the gate discovered that the enemies had completely abandoned their camp, leaving food and clothing and riches and treasures. So when the king determined, and he was still focused on that promise, because when the king determined that it was not an ambush, 3, he received the promise. He sent everybody out. They stampeded out that door and they got more than what they had, all the food, clothing, riches that they needed. So I want to encourage you in this season to, one, listen for the promise of God. And that means you could hear it from a message, you could read it in your Bible, you could get it from a conversation completely unrelated. 2, focus on that promise. Do not waver. Stay focused on it. And 3, receive your promise because it's coming if you believe. So I appreciate you listening. I encourage you to post any testimonies you have of having received the promise when you stood on it and that promise was fulfilled. And I look forward to reading your testimonies, and I will see you tomorrow. God bless you.